Hey, good afternoon. As we always do around this time, we let our senior journalists and editors from the specialist desks come to the fore and open up their diaries for the week ahead. So let's speak to Ntebo Mokobo, senior SABC News Politics Reporter. Good afternoon, Ntebo. So we watched the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry last week, and we saw the Deputy National Police Commissioner, Shadrack Sibiya, appearing. We will continue to watch that as the politics desk this week.
Good afternoon to us, and good afternoon to the viewers at home. Yes, it was in fact another week at work for the Madlanga for Justice Mbuyiseni Madlanga, with his team, that is the two commissioners and of course the evidence leader. It's definitely going to be another week at work again for him on Monday, starting tomorrow, where obviously the man who necessitated the establishment of this commission, that is Shadrack Sibiya himself, the general, will be again fielding questions from the two commissioners and of course the evidence leader, as well as the chair himself. We are here because of General Shadrack Sibiya. Allegations were made against him, and of course, again, he will have to rebut and admit some of those allegations. So this is an opportune moment for South Africans to hear him out this time around.
In terms of the pace, Ntebo, I don't know what you've made of it. It hasn't seemed to gain any cadence. It felt like, it's really moving slow, his testimony, in trying to get to the core questions about his relationship with various actors who are allegedly part of the criminal underworld, about his role in the dismantling of the political killings task team. Yes, there's been progress, but I've not gotten the sense that the core questions have been answered yet. Could we look forward to that happening in the coming days?
You would recall, this is just a probing session. They're trying to investigate what exactly happened. So they're not rushing him. These are senior counsels.
They're marinating him.
Yes, they're just marinating him. The time is coming. So I think from tomorrow, he will be in for a grueling session, grueling a cross-examination, and we'll have to hear from him.
Yeah.
Because if we don't really get what is this Madlanga Commission is all about, it would have been a missed opportunity. Yeah. So I think Justice Madlanga is just having some sort of dose of busting arrows for him. They're waiting for him. So tomorrow, up until Wednesday, we should be clearer in terms of where we're heading.
Yeah, they call it the Madlanga Protocol. Administer the Madlanga Protocol. Let's talk party politics. The ANC's National Working Committee is meeting this week. What's on their agenda?
Well, you would recall, normally in the ANC circles, Monday is called ANC Day. That's where the top officials of the ANC, that's the 7 top officials, will be meeting. They will meet in the morning, of course, and late in the afternoon, around 2 or 3, the National Working Committee that is responsible for the day-to-day running of the organization will then be meeting. But uppermost on the agenda would be like what's happening, political machinations in Ekurhuleni. You would know that, the ANC in Gauteng didn't want to work with any political party except for the EFF. But it seems in Ekurhuleni wants to, has expelled some EFF members. So that on its own will then have a bearing, especially in the politics in Gauteng, where the ANC nationally would want now sort of to really work with the DA. Something that the ANC in Gauteng didn't really want to, didn't even have the appetite to think about or to ponder around. So they will be discussing those political machinations in terms of how is the ANC in Gauteng now going to work, because it seems the EFF relationship in Ekurhuleni and the ANC, it's not in good shape. And of course, Tulas, then after that meeting, we know that later this week, everything that is discussed tomorrow will culminate into a bigger forum. The National Executive Committee is likely to happen this coming weekend. So if that meeting happens now, everything will be deliberated in that bigger forum. A decision is likely to be taken. You'd call again that there are people who are not really happy about the formation of the GNU. And those people who are not really happy about the formation of the GNU in the National Executive Committee will have a bite when they will be discussing the possible putting in abeyance of the national health insurance. So there are many issues that will be traversed in that national executive
Yeah, in the
committee.
coming days. Just on the Ekurhuleni matter, it's been a bit confusing for me because you saw the mayor, Nkosindipile Xhakaza, announcing the Action SA councillor Xolani Khumalo as part of the mayoral committee, only for Action SA to come and say,
No.
what is this? Asizingeni, why nifuna ukusifaka in these things?
I think the executive mayor, politically, I would say it was a preemptive strike on his part. Imagine if you have Xolani Khumalo as the mayoral candidate for Ekurhuleni. How will he be received by the people of Ekurhuleni? Possibilities are he will really gain resonance in Ekurhuleni. So you need to be preemptive as a politician to say, if this man happens to, let's say, get the second highest after me, or maybe the highest after me, how am I going to relate with him?
Yeah.
Possibly, if that happens, hypothetically speaking, if that happens, then it means Mayor Xhakaza will be really in good terms with Xolani Khumalo, and they will work together beyond the 2026 local government elections as a pact. You don't have to go around and look for many people.
Yeah, of course. Action SA does say that he's been persistent in trying to rope them in and trying to get them on board. Tell me about the SACP. What you mentioned earlier, opposition from within the National Executive Committee of the ANC at the start of the GNU, but the more vocal opposition has been from the SACP. Which story are we watching around the SACP this week? Well,
the SACP will take part in the National Executive Committee by tradition. When the NEC happens, the secretariat of the high echelons of the SACP normally attend these meetings. So obviously they will attend. They've expressed their reservations when it comes to the ANC taking a posture, especially on the national health insurance. The decision has been taken. It's just the ANC is just being reactionary on it's somersaulting on the implementation of the national health insurance. So if the SACP happens to be in that meeting, then they must expect that there is going to be a pushback around that. Yeah. But the SACP is having its Politburo sometime later this week. I think Saturday between Saturday and Sunday, if not Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there was going to be a political bureau of the SACP. The political bureau is just like the National Working Committee. Yeah. But the National Working Committee, you recall, it's a regular meeting. It happens almost every Monday, if not fortnightly. But any decisions that comes from the National Working Committee sometimes gets communicated, but in the SACP's Politburo, never communicated, and it's an intense, a very intense meeting because that's where they discuss sort of the action plan for the year. They even look at that Politburo has got some constitutional powers. Can come up with decisions that can even be taken by the Central Committee. So they will be discussing in that Politburo. They will look at the Red Caravan. You call the SACP has embarked on something called the Red Caravan. That Red Caravan has been to 5 provinces. Going into those provinces, identify communities that are having challenges. They discuss with them in terms of how they can resolve some of those problems. For instance, they've identified land somewhere in KwaZulu-Natal where the people are farming, I think chickens and even cows there. They would go to places like Madlanga, where they've done a number of things in those provinces in terms of refurbishing some of the schools, intervening where there are challenges like service delivery blockages. Yeah. So they will be reflecting on the achievements of the Red Caravan program and sort of even discussing their election strategy, the election workshop in terms of identifying people who will be contesting elections for the SACP.
So this is the SACP as a party that contests what they call state power.
State power.
Yeah, all right. Ntebo, let's leave it there. We don't have time to get to your last story, which is, of course, about the TRC Cases Commission, which will also continue in the coming days. That's Ntebo Mokobo from our politics desk opening up his diary.